Flight by Jim Zurcher. Control room of a spaceship on a milk run delivering supplies early in flight. Alberta is on the videophone.
This videophone makes space travel palatable, but even ignoring the time lag, it's still not the same as talking face to face with you. I miss that. I miss so many things, and I especially miss you. Well, by the time you get this, we'll be well into our acceleration phase. I'll return in a few months, maybe sooner if my luck changes and for once the ship runs right. Love you. Bye.
Alberta switches off the monitor and turns to Carol.
Okay, let's start the acceleration phase.
10, 9, 8.
What are you doing?
You said to accelerate, so I'm starting the countdown.
Do you see that big green button, the one that's labeled Go?
Yes.
Push it.
Pursuant to the regulations of the United Space Agency, no acceleration change will...
Never mind quoting regulations. Just go.
Yes, ma'am. 10, 9.
Alberta reaches over and pushes the Go button. A large engine roars. Alberta and Carol are thrown to the back bulkhead.
I thought you were going to fix the inertial dampers.
I got tied up checking our supply of inflatable rafts.
You couldn't fix the inertial dampers, which we use every trip. So you could check for inflatable rafts, which that in all my years of the Merchant Space Service, I have never used.
Regulation X10R47 states all spacefaring ships will carry sufficient emergency landing gear consistent...
Never mind. I know the regulations. I assume that we made regulation on the inflatable raft front.
Well, there were the regulation number present.
There's something about the rafts that I should know. Tell me about the life rafts and tell me now.
Well, they were so old and deteriorated that none would inflate, but that's okay.
That's okay?
Yes. The regulation only states that they be present, not that they operate properly.
So we have inoperable inflatable rafts and inertial dampers. Anything else not operating that I should know about?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Many things. But just as I finished entering all the data into my tablet, it stopped working.
So you can't tell me what doesn't work because the tablet you put the list on doesn't work?
Yes, Captain.
I know you want to make captain someday, but you need to understand the relative importance of the regulations and which things need to be kept running. In other words, what we work on first.
Oh, I know that already.
You do?
Yes.
Then how do we end up with broken inertial dampers?
Well, because in the regulations alphabetical list, auto-inflating rafts come well before inertial dampers.
When we get unstuck, we're going to have a long talk.
Later, the trip so far has been uneventful. Alberta is on the videophone.
Well, we're about a third of the way through the flight. I really miss you. Tell you what, as soon as I get home, we're going out on the town. Until then, I know you won't get this for 2 days, so I'll wish you happy anniversary now. And by the time this gets to you, it will be. Love you. Bye.
Alberta turns to Carol.
Well, time for you to get suited up and clean the reactor.
The efficiency isn't that bad. It could wait a day or two.
Maybe so, but any inefficiency will slow us down, and we've already lost enough time due to breakdowns. I want to get home ASAP. I want to talk to people. I want to eat something other than reconstituted space food left over from the Apollo missions. In other words, I want you to clean the reactor. Now. And that's an order.
Yes, Captain.
Carol shuffles to the storage locker, opens the door, and removes a set of well-worn, very grubby rubberized overalls. As she pulls them clear of the locker, an alien falls out of the cabinet face first onto the floor.
What is that?
You mean, what was that? I think it's dead.
Carol approaches the creature and kicks it lightly with her foot. The alien jumps up and runs around the cockpit with Carol in pursuit. Carol is not very adept in her pursuit, and the alien runs circles around her, making faces at her and thumbing his nose.
Oh, that's an EGOT!
It's a fast EGOT, but not too fast for me. I'm gaining on it.
No, leave him alone. They're basically harmless.
No, I'm going to catch that little stowaway and throw it into the brig.
The alien opens the reactor door and runs through it, closing it behind him. Carol runs into the door and bloodies her nose. Carol tenderly shields her nose.
Hey, Dad, He went to the locker room.
Here, let me fix your nose.
Ow! That hurt!
No pain, no gain. Now, what did you say?
I said he's dead. He went into a live reactor room.
Oh, yes. Poor fellow. Well, the least we can do is to retrieve his body and give him a proper burial.
Okay, you shut down the reactor. For the few seconds we'll be in there, we shouldn't need to suit up.
Alberta and Carol enter the reactor. They drag the alien into the control room.
It doesn't look like it suffered. See the smile on its face?
Well, at least he died happy. I need to figure out how to enter this into my log.
How about Stowaway gets its just rewards?
Oh, what did you have for lunch?
Me? I didn't do anything. You can't blame your gastric problems on me. It's not dead.
You sure? Nothing living could smell like that.
Alien rolls into a supplicant position.
Bleep, blue, blah, bleep, bleep, blop, blip, bloop.
What did he say?
Bleep, blue, blah, bleep, bleep, blah, blip, bloop.
No, you idiot. What does the translator say he said?
The translator says, your trial license has expired. Please approve in-app purchases so we may download the latest language packs.
Another thing not made operational prior to liftoff?
Translator is far down in the alphabet, Captain.
Great. Now we have an alien on board that we can't understand and a mercenary translator.
You said you wanted to have someone to talk to.
Someone I can't understand? If only he could tell us what he's doing here. If only he could speak English.
Speak I Anglese excellent.
It speaks English.
I think the jury's still out on that. I wish he had better English.
If needed, I can speak excellent English. By the way, I wish he had better English is not grammatically correct. What you might want to say is...
Wait a minute. If you speak so well, what was with the excellent?
The Stowaway Guidebook says that when you first meet the crew, endear yourself by not appearing too cognizant of their language. Actually, I was first in my EFSL class. That is, English as a 50-second language.
And the bleep, bloop, bleep meant...
I apologize. I was overcome with excitement and spoke in my native tongue. What I said was, "Oh, great members of the United Space Agency, please accept me, your humble servant, as a new trainee."
We'll accept you as a stowaway and put you in the brig.
But I could be of great use to you. I am very skilled as a spacecraft mechanic. In fact, when I was in your reactor room, I repaired your inertial dampers.
You repaired the inertial dampers?
It wasn't much. Someone had unplugged the control circuit so they could power a boombox. They obviously forgot to plug the dampers back in. In fact, the worst part about being in the reactor room was the boombox was playing John Denver's greatest hits, as interpreted by the galaxy's greatest heavy metal bands.
Speaking of reactors, why aren't you dead?
Oh, that. My planet is continuously inundated with radiation from our sun. We have evolved to the point where we actually enjoy it. It's like sunbathing. The worst that will happen is we will fall asleep and have some gastronomic distress, as you may have noticed.
We noticed. Now, off to the brig.
Now, just a minute. Someone who can fix things, and someone who breaks things so they can listen to John Denver songs. Who should go to the brig?
Regulations are clear. Stowaways, brig. Crew, not brig.
Tell you what, we'll discuss this later, but first, there are a few things around here that need fixing.
What? You let an illegal alien take my job? I'll report you to the President of the United Space Agency. He'll have you drummed out of the service.
Yes, and until then, I'll get this ship fixed, and who knows what else Hey, what do we call you?
You couldn't pronounce my EGOT name, so call me Frank.
Well, Frank, there's lots of jobs for you to do. The first of which will be to fix Carol's tablet so you can get the list of things that need fixing. Sorry we can't offer you anything better to eat than space rations, but I'll get you something better than the brig to stay in.
Great, but first, there was nothing wrong with the tablet other than the screensaver kicked in and blanked the screen. I adjusted the settings so it won't turn off, and we'll get on that list right away.
Frank heads off toward the engine room. He stops and turns back to Alberta.
Also, I'm a 5-star Michelin chef. I think I can turn those space rations into something you'll enjoy.
Never! You know that all aliens are murderers and drug dealers, or worse. He'll probably poison us all. I beg you, follow the regulations and put him in the brig. Send his kids to the Lunar Detention Center.
But I don't have any kids.
We have adoption papers. Pick which kids you want to adopt, and we'll send them to the center.
Can I adopt you?
Enough! Carol, leave him alone.
You need to put him in the brig.
Enough of that. He stays here and fixes all those things that you didn't, without any interference from you.
Well, that's certainly not how I would run this ship.
And when you become captain, you can run it whatever way you see fit. And heaven help your crew and you. But until that time, this ship will run the way I want. And I want it fixed. And I want that 5-star meal Frank promised. And I want it without any guff from you. Do you understand?
Yes, Captain.
Later, the ship is preparing to land. Alberta is on the video phone.
Well, I'm almost home. And we're a little early. Will you meet me at the spaceport? Great. And we're going to paint the town red. And I have a surprise for you. No, you have to wait. But I have to go. We're starting re-entry.
Alberta turns to the crew.
This has been one of my best trips ever. Good food. The ship worked for a change. Wonderful. Just wonderful.
Not wonderful. We had a stowaway with the run of the ship. I had to eat stale crackers rather than get poisoned by this.
Enough! I never got poisoned. And I'm sure that our superiors will notice the good condition of the ship, and you'll share in the accolades.
You think so?
I know so. And I'm glad that this trip has gone so well, because I've decided that it's my last trip. I'm retiring.
You mean that, Captain? I'll become captain?
Can't promise that, but you never know. If you do become captain, remember what I told you about regulations? And I hope you get a good crew. You'll need it.
Yeah, you're probably right. A captain is only as good as his crew.
Well, I'm going to my quarters to pack. You handle the touchdown.
Alberta exits.
Were you serious about wanting to join the space agency?
Oh, yes, ma'am. It has been my lifelong dream. And I must say, it would be an honor to report to someone as knowledgeable about regulations as you are.
But remember, it's not as important to know the regulations as it is to know which regulations are important. Frank, I may have misjudged you. Would you like some help with those application forms? This may be the start of a beautiful relationship.
End of play.